Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Young. I'm going to just walk you through a market review for the week ending February 21st, 2006. So, basically, this disclaimer is just to let people know that this is only one view of the market, and it's basically my assessment, basically looking at the data. But those of you out there that want to get more additional information, it's up to you to kind of do further research. My agenda is pretty compact. I covered multiple areas from inflation to investments, just to give you a kind of snapshot of what's going on. Now, one of the things that happens every month, the various stats agencies for governments release key indicators. Inflation is one of the big indicators in terms of how bank policy is determined. In the case of Canada, we're at about a 2% clip, but there's some factors that are driving that. We've got the issues with a low Canadian dollar and low energy prices, so you're actually seeing some issues in terms of where you might see a drop in the oil prices. You're actually seeing the dollar impacting some of the pricing too, and that's something to bear in mind. I wanted to bring in the Ontario government quickly. It's a significant reason why I want to do this is because the Ontario economy accounts for about 36.6% of the GDP in Canada. So if Ontario struggles, the rest of Canada will face that pressure. And what you need to pay attention to here is looking at how spending has grown about 71% since 2003, and basically what you're seeing here, it's growing at about a 5% growth. For the economy itself in general has grown only at about 3%. So you're actually growing your expenses in government spending faster than the economy, which should be put red flags up to people who are investing in Ontario or just looking at Ontario in general, that there's sustainable issues with spending, but that also means future taxation policies. OECD reduced again, revamped their forecast, so we're actually going to see slow growth in 2016, and that's been discussed in previous presentations too as well. It's something to bear in mind as you're looking at your investment portfolios or just looking in general, and when you're dealing with your customers in terms of their capital investments going into the next couple of years. I wanted to bring in graphene. It's the new, what we call, super product that's going into electronic market. It's an area that basically they expect by 2025 will grow to $2 billion, so it's going to almost triple in size within the next 10 years. It's something that you need to watch in terms of things. It's all driven by the electronics market, so it's an area that you may want to consider evaluating as you're looking at everything else in the market. Retail spending is another critical area that drives the economy. 2/3 of the economy is driven by consumer spending. We saw some negative numbers in December, but in general it was a little bit of a pushback from November, and that's what you're seeing with the quotes from CIBC here. You're also seeing that year over year we're still seeing about almost a 3% growth rate. I just want to bring in electrical stats or energies to show you that over the years the bulk of the Canadian energy is in nuclear or hydro, so it's just something to bear in mind that only green energy accounts for about 2% of the total capacity. Pipelines, this is a tough area that the government, especially the federal government, hasn't come clean in terms of their policy. Oil is a critical export, and as you're seeing year over year, we're still seeing, despite the commodity prices drop, we're still seeing volume capacity gone up by about 5.3%. This is a good indicator where the states are growing. On the left hand side you see the growth charts where you see South Dakota, Idaho, Oregon, and Utah. They're basically in good economic states. Where you see the other side, you're seeing states that have struggled. This kind of gives you an indication if you're dealing with customers in those states where you might see uptick or where you might see some resistance in what's happening in those particular areas. I just want to bring your attention to commodity prices. It's showing you that year over year declines. So the overall index over the last 5 years has dropped by about 12.5%, led mostly by metals and oil and gas sector. Canadian investments is another key area. It shows you the outflow or inflow of cash and shows you how investments are being redeployed. It's another area of concern that you should be watching too, is in terms of where the capital outflow is going, and that impacts balance of payment as well. I want to bring your attention to the British Columbia budget, and it's critical to understand this is the only province that's actually going to be running a surplus for the next 2 to 3 years. New business. There's a little bit of contract action. Most of what you're going to see happen has been lately is in the transportation industry that's supporting transit projects, and that's what the New Flyer Industries out of Manitoba is coming into play. And you're also seeing the Ontario government play more in green technology. I want to bring yourself attention now to just automation and robotics. This is an area that's growing, and you're seeing that we've seen growth significantly over the past few years, and that's important because it shows you more and more companies are endorsing automation. India market, I just brought this in because they're really pushing growth. They probably will be one of the leading growth countries over the next few years, surpassing China in economic growth. And they're really looking for more foreign direct investment. That's what you're seeing here as well. Internet of Things, this was more in the manufacturing side, how they want to pool things in data collection, and how manufacturing is going to be addressing more of the Internet of Things as part of the overall monitoring of their operations and collecting of data. Now, I've also attached some additional sources that you can review. I have additional videos that you can kind of look at. This presentation was designed to kind of give you a quick overview to provide you some information where you can do further digging on. It's not the only version of what you want to see in the markets, but it's going to give you a good indication of what's going on. Thank you.